So as a small business owner, there are so many things that you have to grapple with. It's like juggling, isn't it? But one of the most important things is managing your finances and managing your wealth creation, because that's what you're in business for. So this week, we are talking to a very good friend of mine, Kirsten Granados, who is an expert in all of this, and that's coming right up. So Kirsten, welcome. I have to confess, I am terrible at financial management and wealth creation. I'm the only guy who invests in property and loses money when he sells them. So I hope that you're going to be able to give us some great tips for business owners, and particularly around managing their finances and wealth creation. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you so much, Rob, for having me with you. I highly appreciate the opportunity. So it has been my privilege for the past over 5 years to be able to serve families and business owners in the sector of helping them protect what they strive to create the most, which in this case is their business, is their assets, their money, from all these different factors that can cause them to leak away money in these times.
Wow. So I don't like to hear that word leak when we're talking about wealth. So give us a couple of examples. Where do people kind of get this wrong, and how do they lose their wealth?
Yes. So one of the ways that this can even affect a business owner's even mental health is inconsistently paying themselves, or even paying themselves less than their employees. And this may sound counterintuitive. You may think, but as a business owner, it is my sole duty to reinvest all the profits back into the business. I'm here for my employees. I'm here to serve my customers. I'm here to invest in marketing. However, the toll that this ultimately takes when a business owner is grinding, putting in 60, 70 hours a week, and they don't receive consistency of salary or even less than their employees, actually causes backlash and can create leaks, because if they don't have that consistent or linear, that defined amount of money that they're paying themselves, and they all of a sudden, oh, for the house payment, oh, for this, then these tiny assaults and plops here and there, they can cause cracks in a business's profit.
Gee, that is really good advice. I can remember when I first started in business, which is way back now, about 25 years ago. We started with nothing, and I had a business partner, and we sat down one day and we said, okay, what's the minimum you need to live on? And I forget what it was, $60,000 a year or something, to pay mortgages and all this kind of stuff. And we promised each other we would, we'd get a monthly salary, but it would not go above that, regardless of how well the business went. So I think that's a great point. It's the discipline, isn't it? You've got to have, a degree of comfort that you've got enough to live on. But one of the things I see people doing is they take too much out of the business, and then, they make it. I saw my son do this with his business, hey, we've had a couple of really good months. Why you got a new car? That's dumb. It's about managing cash flow. So great tip there. Thanks very much for that one. What's next?
Yes, so I would say that ultimately, in terms of not knowing where the money is going, a lot of times when a business starts, or they pivot even in terms of their marketing or the clientele that they're serving, maybe they enter a new market space or just a new niche, and they hire lots of coaches or lots of programs, and then before they realize it, maybe the business has advanced and start to create some revenue down the line. But then if you don't actually take a personal peek at your bank statements and know what's coming out, a lot of subscriptions and things entailing in terms to coaching programs, or just even other things that maybe you relied on at the beginning of your business career, but now are not using as much, they can also create a detrimental effect to the business. And you can have these little holes that you're not realizing are affecting ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, cash flow management, it's probably the most important thing, isn't it, for a business owner? Would you advise, because I know a lot of people when they start in business, they kind of think, oh, I'll do the books myself or this kind of stuff. I mean, if you're not a financial person, does that make sense? Or should you really budget for having someone helping out part-time at least?
I would say that someone that is able to, at least even on a part-time basis, assist and support with the bookkeeping aspect can truly help to avoid any missed gaps or any miscommunications, because oftentimes what I see a lot of business owners struggle with is they try to tackle on all these roles themselves. They put all this weight on their own shoulders. And when that happens, is that by not leveraging and outsourcing something that can easily help avoid any mistakes or any sort of crumbling down the line.
Mm. So you've been doing this for a while now and working with a lot of individuals and business owners. What are some of the really, I mean, let's not name names here, but what are some of the really sort of shocking and sad things that you've seen happen, and how could people avoid that?
Yeah, so one of the things that is very shocking, I would say, is when a business, they invest so much in terms of marketing themselves and their strengths versus taking care of even their own client base. And I've personally experienced this as well, because nurturing your own clients actually leads to more trust-driven referrals, and therefore more income that will perdure in the long term, because the current client base is taken care of, rather than always going after the next one, after the next one. I've seen some business owners, they treat clients as if it were just a sandwich line or a factory.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that recently. Yeah, oh, no, you got some gems here. Yeah, when I look at my own business, I'm not going to share what the percentage is, but um, a very, very high percentage of our business is repeat business, and that's the easiest business. Look after your clients, your customers, and they keep coming back to you. So have you seen any sort of real train wrecks, from a wealth creation point of view, that people just kind of really got it wrong? Maybe, I don't know, what, they had their business in the wrong person's name, or, what kind of things can go wrong?
I would say that one of the things is that as soon as a business starts to scale, is also dramatically changing or shifting the lifestyle, or in terms of lifestyle expenses. People all of a sudden, they want to enjoy the fruits of the labor. They want to take the spouse on maybe
They
very
want the
expensive
time.
vacations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. Do you know that was a really good discipline for me in my early years of business. For about the first 7 years, I had a business partner, and we would be accountable to each other. And looking back on it, it was probably a little bit childish, but I'd say I'll call him Jim. Jim, I need to get some more stuff for my home office. You okay if I spend $1,000? And it was like, okay, can I spend $1,000 on something? So it was like really careful. And then it would be, if you're going to do something, I'm going to do something. And it, over the years, then it would get to toys. I'd like to take 10,000 out to do such and such. You take 10,000 out as well. But it was all very closely managed. So it all comes back to managing cash flow and stuff, doesn't it?
Yes, I would say that that is the root. And then also it even comes down in terms of just to self-confidence, in the sense of seeing yourself that you are enough without a lot of these luxury or even material items as well.
Oh, that's very true. So in the longer term, if someone's trying to create wealth in their business, how do you do that? I mean, what do you do? Take spare cash and invest it in property and stocks? What do you advise your clients?
So depending on every person's situation and ultimately their expenses, I highly advise them that if possible, in terms of creating, number one, a blueprint of where they currently are and a blueprint of where they seek to be. So having outlined clearly certain goals and certain milestones in the ages in which they seek to accomplish these by is very essential. Because I would say the one thing that messes with a lot of people's potential for wealth creation is not having clarity of what exactly they seek to achieve. And also even just maybe making decisions based on what a peer, a friend makes, but not really on their own needs and what they seek to achieve.
No, that's a good point. And don't measure yourself against others. I like that element. Just because that person down the road's got a flash car or something, it's probably on a huge loan, don't be jealous. Yeah, I think focus on what you're doing. So I'll, if you don't mind, let's put a link down below where people can reach out to you, maybe a LinkedIn link or something like that. Do you have any sort of resources that people could tap into? And, we could talk about that off air. Maybe we'll put some links down there as well.
I would, as of currently, not in terms of actual print, but I would be happy to, if someone is looking to know a few more about certain books that can help them.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are, I would say that one of the few books that I find helpful is Profit First. This is a book that a lot of business owners they find helpful. And then also, just depending on where you are, I would also be happy to, if you have a certain situation, I'm more than happy to share more books and personal message.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So I'll have a chat with Kirsten off air, and we'll see what links we can come up with, and we'll stick those down below the video. But Kirsten, great to talk to you today. Some really solid, good tips for people, particularly I think starting out in business, because it's scary, isn't it? And the finances are the things that are going to trip you up. Any one last bit of advice before we go? To do this or don't do this?
I would say that ultimately, don't be afraid to ask. One of the biggest things that I say really affects a lot of starting entrepreneurs and even seasoned are those that thinking that we have reached the culmination of where we can be, and just not being afraid to ask for guidance and seek support.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a great tip. And so thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for watching. And if you have any sort of questions or whatever, do put something down in the comments below. And I'll get Kirsten to answer those. And have you seen any sort of financial dramas yourself with maybe your own business or friends' businesses? Let us know some of the things that you've seen happen as well, so we can all learn from that. Great talking to you, Kirsten, and see you soon, everybody. Bye for now.